Okay, so let's see. We're going to just go through all the parts. Um, so with a ball, you can just drop a ball into the world and pick it back up. You can actually toss it, which is kind of fun. Now those don't get saved with the levels. So the first piece that you most likely are going to want is a conveyor, and the conveyor starts off without any balls on it. But if you hit this restart, it'll spawn a ball on every other hook. Right now they have nowhere to go, so they just hit the floor, and they'll eventually get deleted after a certain amount of time. Now I want to talk about setup mode. If you go into Tools and click Setup, all the conveyors in your level will freeze, and then you can drag balls with the exact colors and placement that you want. If you have a level that requires specific timing, and then when I hit done, it will remember those, and if I hit restart, it will remember those. And if you go back into setup mode and remove these, then it goes back to just randomly spawning them again. So that's the conveyor. The next piece I'll cover is the straight piece. This is pretty straightforward. Ha ha ha. You'll notice that when you hover over it, this arrow appears. That lets you drag it out, make it larger. You can shrink it back down. And then if you reach the end and keep going, it'll just spawn a new straight piece. And so then, these can easily be removed after the fact, but that helps. It makes it easier for you to just drag and drop straight pieces, or create a bunch of straight pieces without having to drag and drop each one. The funnel is pretty straightforward. The interesting thing about the funnel, you can put it at any angle you want, so you can do some fun things with chaining them together and directing the ball to a certain spot. And so that's pretty useful, like especially if you're trying to get things to, end up on the conveyor bottom. That will funnels are really good at directing traffic. This is the flex piece. This is pretty fun. So the flex piece is kind of like to kind of call it the crazy straw piece. So when you bring it out, it's really small, and then when you start dragging it, you can pretty much drag it in any direction that you want it to go. And it again will also create multiple pieces that are connected together. And so, if you let's get rid of that one, but they're all connected. And so that's a very useful piece for connecting up two pieces that are maybe at really strange angles. So let's say, for example, I have a straight piece here, and I have a straight piece there. Now, these curves, it's going to be really hard to get those to line up. But if I use a flex piece and I start dragging it towards the other piece, and you'll notice then once you see these dots appear, you can just let it go and it'll automatically connect it up for you. Okay, I want to go over the curve pieces. So there's 3 different curve pieces. There's this large curve, a little 180, and a big 180. And so with curves, similar to the straight piece, when you pull it out, there's this arrow pointing in the curve direction, and you can use that to make it longer. And if you reach the end, you just keep going, and it'll spawn a new one. Now, there's always going to be this rotation ring here that you can use to rotate the piece. You can also grab, if you're like trying to work on something on the fly, it's easier to just grab these arrows at the end here. And when we add the curve piece, whichever direction you drag it in to spawn a new one, we try to go in that direction. Oh, except if we've detected that you're in a helix situation, which in that case, we always do the helix. So if you're having trouble getting it to go the direction you want, then it means you've entered into a helix. So let's see if we can find. So the first one will never have a helix. So let's go. So if you just drag this in a certain direction, so there, if I drag it up, it'll go up. If I drag it down, down. If I drag it towards me, it'll curve towards me. But then, yeah, once you've created a helix, we know that those are oftentimes what you want with these things. So once you've created a helix, we try to maintain that. And so, like, I'm going to try to make a nice little tight helix here. It needs to still be tilting down. And then, oh, no, it's still not quite what I want. Okay, maybe that should do it. So then we go round and around and around. Just keeps on repeating it. So that is the curve piece, and all of these curve pieces work the same way. So they all will tend towards helixes, and if it's not a helix, it'll follow the mouse cursor in whatever direction you want it to go. But then once we've got a helix, boom, it's just going to keep on keeping on. That actually brings up a good point. I want to talk about multi-select. So when you do have more than one piece, you can individually select each piece, remove it, drag it, drop it. But let's say I'm tired of that. I want to just move this as a unit. If you hold down the trigger and drag the cursor over pieces, it puts them into a single group. And now I can move that as a group. I can also delete the whole thing. I can actually sort of permanently group it. So if I do that, if I permanently group it now, it just always selects it as a group. Then I can also, if I want to split it up, once the group is selected, I can split it. And now we're back to individual pieces. And then finally, if I've got a configuration that I really like and I want to save it sort of as, permanently, I can say save as module. And then that'll put it on this new modules tab. So normally when you open it up, you start on parts, but if you come into modules, you'll see anything that you've saved. And then I can just take these modules, drag and drop them out, and it will stick them together. So it acts like a new part, basically. And you can always delete modules too. Okay, let's talk about switches. So there's two switches. This is the, as we call this, this is the original switch. And so if you drag that out, drop a ball in, you'll see how it toggles back and forth. And you'll notice that these little arrows pointing down, that's the entrance point. So you'll always want balls to come in here. If you try to bring it into the other side, it doesn't work. It'll just get stuck. And then the other switch type is one that is good for, like, if you have something coming in from the left or the right, or you're even coming straight down. Say I've got something coming straight down and I want it to keep going or veer off to, to 90 degrees. That's what this version is for. And again, make sure the ball comes in at the arrow. Otherwise, the balls will get stuck. So those are your two different switches for making all different kinds of configurations.